3, 2, 1. All right, welcome to another episode of If You Build It with my girl Kat. We just met today from New York in person. All right, you could go ahead and introduce yourself, let the folks know where you're from and what it is that you do.
Ooh, I feel like the hardest question that I need to answer in life is what is it that I do? And I feel like that changes daily. But I'm Kat. I go by Retro Barbie 92 on the IG. I'm from Queens, New York, always will represent. And I'm believing these days that I am a media personality, as well as a creative manager and a curator of content and events. Specifically for the Black community, my mission is to uplift, empower, and connect the Black creators, Black brands, Black businesses, just so we can have a prosperous community and prosperous culture. A lot of times our culture has been appropriated and made to just benefit others, and it's time that we start benefiting ourselves.
Okay, how would you define content manager?
Well, I say creative manager because I manage creatives in the sense of creatives. We have this complex where our mind goes 1,000 miles per hour, but it's very hard to get your idea into an actual reality concept. So my part that I've started this year and thoroughly enjoy is helping their ideas come to real life. So ironing it out, organizing their ideas, connecting them with the right people, and putting it out there to see the way that we can get it received by the masses.
Okay, so you have a community of people around you.
Yeah.
All right,
I've built a community of people around me.
You built a community. Okay, tell me a bit about this community that you've built. And if you can't drop a name or two and say how you built with that person. So let's go with your top 2 names that come to mind.
Well, I'll say the first person is my first client that comes to mind. So Max Stanley Kazau, he is a licensed mental health counselor. He specializes in relationship therapy and for Black couples specifically. We met because during the pandemic, I was doing a lot of lives for Black Men Cry Too. And
Black Men Cry Too, plug.
Yes. So I was
okay.
like,
Okay, so we're going to get back to that.
Remember that name? Remember it? And I wanted to interview a therapist on IG Live during the pandemic. I asked one of my friends who I went to college with, who is a therapist, if she could connect me to a Black male therapist.
Yeah.
That's how we got connected. From our first phone call conversation, we synced immediately. And after I asked him to do IG Live, he asked if he could be a guest on the show. And that was after I did the first season. So he was my second episode for season 2. And our first time meeting in person, I literally thought the day before, what if I manage creatives? Could that be a field? Could I do that? I feel like I enjoy doing that. Brainstorming, developing ideas, ironing out, fleshing out, building experiences and environments and communities. And while we were sitting and talking before we started recording, he looked at me and said, I need a manager. Would you manage me? And I was like, who sent you? Who told you? How are you? I don't like this. You're making me nervous. But through that, the experience and the way that we've grown together, I got him. He only had 3,000 followers. Right now, he is dancing on 10K. He's also playing with my emotions just to get to 10K. That's besides the point. And with that, getting him, seeing opportunities where he can fit in, getting him in those opportunities. He was on a podcast called Hard or Soft. It's a sex positive podcast by 2 sex positive males. So here you have these sex positive males and this relationship therapist guy, and they're having the most dynamic conversation ever in front of your eyes. And you saw that and you envisioned that and you plugged those pieces together. And to see the way that they've been building since then, and one of the guys who's on the show, one of the main guys, now he has a new restaurant, and I reached out to him hey, I want to be a bartender, so you're looking. And not only did he see an opportunity for me to be a bartender, now he's asking me to do menu curation. So it's like...
Are you getting paid for each one of these things that someone is asking you for? Okay, cool. So you have a menu of, hey, this is how much this service will cost.
I'm developing a menu.
Okay.
And that helps me develop myself. So that's how I'm building a community around me. I'm seeing who's doing what that I admire and that aligns with who I am. Because I've had a particular sponsor for Black Men Cry Too, and as much as, yes, you're paying me every month, you're not aligning with the core mission, values, and foundation of the brand and of who I am as a person.
So you need to start putting boundaries and parameters to the contracts of sponsorships.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Even if it means I'm saying no to money, I'd rather say no to money and yes to my dignity.
Not all money is good money. You gotta stand up for who you are. No one else is gonna do it. So it's literally your job.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I have a lot of people look at me like, no, I think you should still keep it. And I'm like, I keep asking myself, do I want to continue with them way too often? Which tells me that I do not want to continue with them.
And it's time to move on.
I can't just think, like, as much as I'm money driven, I can't just think money, because that's how you sell out.
Okay, no, that's real. So the very first client that you managed, that you referenced, you said he's a therapist.
A relationship therapist.
Now, the reason I asked this question is I used to watch Joe Budden podcast, and I forgot the name of the all-woman podcast that he has. When that whole scandal went down, I didn't like the way that went down. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm just going to let this go.
Yeah. That's how I felt when I first saw it. I was like, I feel like this doesn't make sense. Something's going to happen. Then it happened, and I was like, huh.
It didn't make sense, but they made it work. And then when that something happened, and I heard how it was handled, I was like, oh, I was rooting for you guys. I'm going to have to let this go.
Yeah.
So when it comes to like mental health, language matters.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, Joe, because of his personality, wants everyone to do I'm seeing a therapist, I am now the therapist. And it's like, bro, you seeing the therapist doesn't turn you into the therapist, even if you understand how the dynamic works and what you're working towards. That's number one. Number two, they've made the mistake a couple of times between his show and other people's show of bringing on people who are life coaches, and it's like life coaches are not therapists. And when you have a platform that's that big and you cross the line of letting people know, hey, this life coach is a therapist or they can give me therapy, it's like, no, that's not how that works.
You're muddling the message.
Yeah, and then everyone's understanding is, so I need a life coach, that's what I need. It's like, no, a life coach has this specific thing, a therapist does this specific thing. You can get a life coach who is a certified therapist, but the language in they are a certified therapist who's a life coach is very different from someone who's just a life coach.
Right.
And it's not to devalue that, but it just gets dangerous when people cross those messages. So
keyword, dangerous.
Dangerous. So how do you feel about moments like that happen?
I think you kind of hit the nail on the head with saying it's dangerous. I feel like it's dangerous because the work that I'm believing and that I'm aligning and
you're doing. Yeah, you're doing. I've seen it. I watched episodes. I listened. I was like, oh, that was cute. I'll take that. I like that.
That was cute. Like, that was cute. That was cute. Try again.
No. That was cute. Nah, keep going. Not even try again. I was like, nah, that's correct.
I am doing it for a specific reason, and I'm doing it for the people that tune into the Joe Budden podcast is mainly the people that I'm essentially targeting, but I know it's going to take not a really long time, a longer time to get to, because you don't have that mindset. You aren't privy to people with these perspectives or those that are looking to change circumstances. You only have a thought that something doesn't fit right or feel right, but you don't know how to explore that thought, self-reflect. You don't have the tools or the resources to identify, like, where is this coming from? There's a lot of times I've met and dealt with men stoic men from the hood, whatever you want to call it. You know you have an anger issue, but you don't know where the anger issue comes from.
Yeah.
That's a problem for me. And I know from personal experience, and that's why I never ever want to feel like holier than thou or mighty than thou. And that's why I want to do this work, and why I'm doing this work is because I've had to go through that. I've had to self-identify from negative behaviors that I don't want associated with who I believe I am and who I want to be. So in order to do that, I needed to self-reflect. I needed to recognize, like, there's something wrong. And it doesn't matter that I came from a 2-family household. I come from middle class families. I went away to college. Like, something was still wrong. Like, I wasn't okay. And it wasn't until being around people who are talking about therapy in a lighter sense, or seeing changes in themselves or learning about themselves. And I had a therapist friend who made me recognize, like, hey, something's going on. You should probably do it. Like, it's time. It's time. You should take that leap. And taking that leap, it's only been 3 years, and the difference of the person I am, the words that I keep hearing is self-aware. So now, me being self-aware, I can identify and change my reaction and my response to situations that occur with a more level-headed mindset. And that way kind of is a safety net for me then, because I'm able to be like, don't flip out. Don't burn the house down. Don't send nobody there. Take a second. Why are you upset? What is triggering your anger in this moment? What is triggering your emotions in this moment? Boom. Now you can identify it. Ooh, I gotta put a new boundary up. Hey, what we not gonna do is this, and if you do this again, I'm gonna step out. Because I know if you continue this, you will take me back to a place that I've worked very hard to get out of. And that's gonna help me grow, evolve, and get more opportunities, meet new people, and just live the life that I wanna live. So I feel that it's dangerous if you muddle that message, because people need the help. And they don't realize the help that they need. They don't realize the triggers. They don't realize what's going on within their self here. And here controls everything.
Yes.
So if you're giving that mixed message, people are still gonna walk around being toxic, being problematic, and still not seeing anything wrong with it.
They're gonna think that the words are just words, but they lack meaning.
I'm just gonna say whatever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say something so nasty and negative, and then just apologize for it afterwards. Like, no, your apology doesn't mean anything if your behavior continues. You have a problem.
Yeah.
And you as a problem, I need the problematic to start becoming the minority, to recognize that, like, you cannot just continue living life being such a problem or a burden to others because of your pain. Hurt people hurt people. You will not bleed on me because you never took the time to bandage your wounds. I do not want you to continue bleeding on others. I've been bled on. I've bled on people. It's problematic.
And it bleeds all into the same thing if you're not careful, ironically enough. All right, so I have 2 things to say, because the viewers can't see this, and I recognize this, but you have glasses on.
I do.
When you were saying that, I was like, you are going to that place right now on camera, because I was actually there earlier this morning. I don't know if you saw my post, but I had a moment where I was like, oh, I should speak on this and why I support this person the way that I do, so people could have an understanding to our relationship. That was like a moment earlier today. That's number 1. Number 2, when you put up new boundaries, do you ever make time for yourself to feel what that new space that now exists in that boundary is like, and where it starts and stops?
I think boundaries for me has never really been explored until this year. So
it's okay to say no.
I'm not too sure. I believe I'm starting to understand and identify what the spaces need to be for myself to exist in peace.
Yeah.
And that definitely comes from and learned from losing my mother at the top of this year.
My condolences.
Thank you. For me to continue existing and showing up every day is a fight. It's a battle. It's tough. It's hard. But I do it off the strength of I'm doing it for her. I have this relationship with her. She has these thoughts and these plans and these goals, and me and her have talked about it. It's not like my mother was just the only one to envision this life for me. Like, we've spoken about what life looks like for me, and goals and achievements and accomplishments. And I want to continue that legacy. I want to perform those things. But in order to perform it, every day is a challenge. Every day is tough. What do I need to do to ensure that I'm not going to be the one gust of wind can throw me off? How can I avoid gust of winds coming often? So if it's you causing me anxiety because something is always an issue. Something is always an issue. Your feelings are always hurt. This is no longer a me thing.
Yeah, that's a you.
You need to figure out what's going on over there, and you need to stop bringing it here because I don't have it for you.
And also, when you figure it out, I can change my language and tone, and we can work on this together.
But if it's every day, there's something new, so I have to tailor every day and think twice as hard to. No, I can't. We can't.
Yes.
We need to be apart.
I like how you went from I to we because you're trying to keep it together.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this is we
It's not
can
a
do this
you
together.
thing.
We can.
We can, but then like as much as we can, it's like so we can't, and that's okay. I'm okay not doing this with you because I can no longer attempt to do this with you because I don't feel like you're doing it for yourself over there.
Okay.
Or identifying or acknowledging. And that's when some of the boundaries, like people are human and I understand life goes on and everyone's life is different. You move with self, but if you're moving with self, and you never step back, and there's like friendships, relationship. Every person that's in your life is a relationship.
Yes.
What are you doing to help maintain and support the other person in the relationship? So that's where the boundaries come up. It's like, I need reciprocity in my relationship. If you don't have it, you're violating a boundary and you need to go.
Okay.
I need grace in my relationships. There are going to be days I'm going to be an airhead. There's going to be days I'm going to break down. If you're not moving with a sense of, okay, let me come to you like gracefully. Hey, this, that, and the third. And you're coming with the same aggression because you're coming with yourself first. That's a problem for me. You're violating a boundary. You don't know where I'm at mentally for this day. I am not the same. I will not be the same. And if you're moving as if I am the same person, as if life is the same for me, you're disrespecting a boundary for me because you're not considering what life feels like for me these days. I don't need you to check in. I don't need the coddling. I need the grace and the consideration. So that's when like boundaries for me feels like grace, consideration, and level-headed conversation. We can disagree, we can have issues or things that need to be talked about. How are we talking about it? Are we having a conversation? Do I feel like we're hearing each other? Do I feel like we're seeing each other? If I do not feel that way, that's something that I know that I need. I understand what that feels like, or I want to feel that way, and if I don't feel that way, that's a boundary you're violating. You have to go. No. Here's your severance package. There's nothing in it. You gotta go.
So these 5 minutes right here, that was the description of your current understanding of your boundary. That was beautiful.
I'm glad it was because it's coming at the top of my mind. Like, what does it look like? What does it feel like?
I think on the drive back to New York, you're gonna be like, damn, these questions. Yo, I just gotta write this in my journal.
Usually happens that way.
Okay, so I'm gonna bring it back to your second client or creative that you've worked with that you felt just had an impact on your work and what it is that you're doing or where you'd like to go.
It's 2 in 1. So
one person or 2 people?
2 people that do the same thing differently but the same. So I'll constantly go back and forth between 2 people when I have an idea about myself.
Okay.
Because I trust their judgment, their work ethic, their capabilities, and they know, understand, and like they can tell me about me before I can tell me about me.
Okay. Where do you think that comes from?
Well,
would you like ginger ale on your whiskey?
I would, thank you.
Okay, cool.
One is a Capricorn.
Okay.
So we're Capricorn soul sisters. It is what it is. And our relationship started. So these 2 people, our relationship started with doing business. One was in college. I was a sophomore in college, and we both were the event chairs for BRAG, which is the Black Retail Action Group.
Which college?
Philadelphia University. We don't acknowledge that it's Jefferson, so it's Philly, you on this side. Go Rams. It was a PWI, so every black person, I was like, no, we're friends. Like, we gonna make our own little HBCU in here.
I went to Catholic University of America.
Yeah. You got it. You gotta. Yeah. We're all in this
I know the
together.
feeling, I guess. Yeah.
So in doing that with her, like, we just clicked business-wise, and then we grew our personal relationship during that time frame. So I already know how you work. Our ideas bounce off each other. They're strong, and I love that as a creative. Like, being able to bounce ideas and think outside the box and push limits of how I think and capabilities and new concepts. The other person was 2 years after I graduated my MBA, so around 2016.
Did you say this person's name on the first person? How you want to say their name? Give them a shout out. I'm probably gonna ask you for the photos so we can put their photo up over the edit. Like, this person's name. This is who it is.
They're gonna be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's you. Just make sure it's a good picture. No one complains when it's a good picture.
That's true. So now I gotta ask them.
Yeah,
Like, just
that's
send me
it.
your favorite picture of you.
Great picture.
Don't ask why.
Yeah.
Trust me, I got you.
Ask for a quality picture and be like, hey, this many pixels.
I need the PNG. The PNG. Thanks. Not the JP.
Yeah.
So the college friend is Diamond Newman. She's a DC resident
Okay.
and
okay.
a Maryland, Baltimore girl.
Okay.
That's my girl. Felix Vargas.
Mm-hmm.
He's the person I met in 2016, and it was almost the same thing. It's like we fell in love business-wise,
Okay.
and then built our personal relationship. And it's because of the fact that both of these people are very similar to the way that I live and operate, what they prioritize, what their goals are in life. It aligns. So with them, I feel seen as a personal professional, if that makes sense, or personal creative, because the two aligns together.
Yeah.
I know there's times where it's like, my 9 to 5 does not define me. I'm not that person. This is just what I do to get health insurance.
You have a 9 to 5? I would have never known. The way you move, I mean, we'll talk on my stuff off camera. But yeah.
That's what I was like, I'm not answering that one right now. Because we're going to see if that changes by the time this drops, hopefully.
I mean, we have the date that this drops. So yeah, you got time. You got time. A lot can happen in that time. A lot
And that's what I
will happen in that
happen
time. Yeah.
in this time. I need that to change. I don't want people to be like, you have a 9 to 5? No, I do not. No. And I'm still doing quite fine. That's what I would like to say.
Was your 9 to 5 basically what you went to the first night we had that conversation?
No.
Okay. All right, cool. Keep going.
That's why I have all those little things to see. Well, if I do all these things, will that sustain me from not going back there?
Yeah, good old supplements. I got you. Yeah. Felix. Was that
Felix.
Felix?
So yes. So we met because we both worked in the event industry, and we were the young cats in the event industry, and we saw a problem in the industry, and together we decided to build this business. We brought in 2 of our other friends. We did it for about 2 to 3 years, and then we dissolved it and stayed really good friends. So that was a great experience for myself as well, to like build a business, build businesses with friends, and dissolve a business and still maintain the friendships to this magnitude. As well as sort of using it to, we all learned our individual strengths and weaknesses in that process. So for us, it's never a regret. It was a great experience for all of us to step into ourselves. So because of that, and because me and his mind was very much similar throughout the whole process, I know I can look to you and take actual guidance and trust your opinion, because you're gonna think of it. You can ask somebody like, what do you think if I did this on Black Men Cry Too? Oh yeah, I think that'd be cool. That'd be dope, yeah. And it ends there. And you're like, okay, cool.
Concise, very concise.
Cool.
Yeah.
If I go to either one of them, they'll be like, yeah, I see that, but if you do it that way, have you considered this, and this? Or maybe if you do it like this, or I think you should look at this and use this as a guidance. It's
They'll
like,
give you the whole picture.
Thank you,
Yeah.
because I'm big picture, missing out on details person. That's me to a degree. When I work with other people, I'm looking at their details. You give me the big picture, I'll give you all the details that's needed for the big picture. So that's why working with them as creatives has been a blessing, and especially call them my close friends, because they'll also understand, well, what are you going through personally that you want to do that? Or do you think that would be a good decision for you currently? So it's the check-in as well. And for me, it's also if I'm shying away from saying things like, I don't consider myself a media personality. I haven't considered myself a media personality. And I had Diamond in my ear for a really long time. Like, so everything you keep saying, everything you get excited about, everything that you're doing, all of your feedback means your personality. Own it, say it, and stop running from it.
Yeah.
Because that's also a problem as creatives. We can run and hide. Mm-hmm. It's exposing ourselves. If I'm saying I'm a personality, that means I have to perform.
I love hiding.
So do I.
Yeah, I love hiding. It's like, oh my God, is that a rock?
I'm like, Kat, is that you? We see your hair. And I keep telling people, like, I like to go to events and just, let me observe the room and stay in the corner. And they're like, but I can see you.
Yeah.
Your hair. Yeah. And I'm like, oh yeah, but please don't talk.
It's funny, your hair is not even that loud though. Yeah. I think because, I don't know if you do this on purpose, the roots are black. And then you got color. So it's like, she added color, not, that's a lot of color.
It changes every 2 months. So this time you see black in the roots. There's times where you don't see black in the roots. This time it's short. There's other times it's down to my waist. So since it varies so often, but that's the consistent part of me, everyone knows if you see a girl with colorful braids, like, oh, Kat's coming or Kat's here. Even though I just try to like dip in and be like, I'm just trying to look around, observe the room, kiki below, just blend in with the crowd. Then you can't blend, and it's like, oh no, I don't know, everyone stop looking over.
I am now the crowd.
I don't want to be seen. I didn't see this to be seen. Who are you? I don't know. I'm asking myself that same question. I don't know who I am. I'm sorry, guys.
Okay, so tell me about is it a company or is it a campaign?
Black Men Cry Too.
Yes.
It is an LLC business. I started it as a passion project because I was afraid that I wouldn't have been received well by the culture or the community. Once I put it out into the world, the week I put it out into the world, we lost Kobe Bryant. Anyone that knows me knows Kobe is my guy. That is the reason why I fell in love with basketball. I mean, I was an Iverson fan first, but I was like in the 3rd grade. Then I saw Kobe take that half-court shot. I think maybe it was also the Dream Team. It was just so much Kobe back then that I was like, he's a superhero to me. So to lose Kobe, someone I admire, the week that I dropped such a sensitive project, and then to see the shift in the culture, I was like, black men are crying on TV. Black men are breaking down. LeBron is embracing people. LeBron is distraught. Wow, this is being received well. Like this.
And that was already the title of your show.
Black Men Cry Too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I never changed it.
January 21st, what was the drop date? Or was it January 14th? I feel like I touched it earlier.
January 25th. 25th, 24th.
Okay, all right. Cool.
24th. It was the day before my friend's birthday, and his birthday is the 25th, and he was the first episode I dropped, Peter Perfect.
Okay.
Really good episode. He's very insightful, philosophy major. Yeah, he's a philosophy major. So that's why when he talks, like his analogies and stuff, it just hones in and it hits the nail on what I wanted to come from the conversation. Like, what are the key things people can take away? So having him as the first one as his birthday gift, and then Kobe, and me and him would go back and forth about like Kobe being the greatest. He wasn't a Kobe fan, but he knows the magnitude of the impact of Kobe.
Yeah.
So with it being received well and seeing the opportunities that were coming from it, I was like, no, I can make this bigger than what I envisioned it to be. I didn't know if I was going to go past season 1. I didn't know if I was going to be able to go past 6 episodes, because at first it was just the first 6 episodes.
So 6 episodes per season.
It's
become something more.
It's become something more.
Okay.
When I first put it out, it was 6 episodes that I knew I could record. Then I was meeting other people who were having these conversations, and I was like, maybe I can get season 1 to extend to 10 episodes, because I like 10 episodes for a season. That works for me. And then it was, oh wow, there's more people out there that want to have conversations. There's more people out there that I want to hear their story, I want to learn from, that I think if other people heard their insight, their perspective, their knowledge, their experience, they can relate and connect you. And then that was happening. And then through that, it was, oh, this college wants me to speak to them. This school in DC wants me to speak to their 2nd graders. Oh, people want to hear why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Let me see what more I can do. Then I'm learning from the men that came on the show. Wait, you're building this? You're doing this? You're doing that? How can I align with that to help even further? Because I want to give young Black and brown boys and girls different representation that we did not see when we were younger. We never saw people talk about their mental health. We never saw Black and brown kids being creatives and being successful creatives or working in other industries. I remember being in high school and they're basically trying to get me to go to a city college and like take union jobs. Why are you limiting my dreams and capabilities? No, I'm going to go away to college. I'm going to try into an industry that no one in this high school has looked into. I'm going to try my hand and see what I can do with my life.
You've always pushed boundaries.
I guess so.
Yeah.
That's probably why I was always in a lot of trouble growing up. Pushed way too many boundaries.
And the reason I say that, which I find it fascinating, is me being from Jersey, my parents always knew. I was like, look, if I go to a college in Jersey, it's just going to be Rutgers. That's it. Now, at that time, it was coming off the heels of Ray Rice playing at Rutgers, and he was a legend. This is before the allegations, and he beat that woman in the elevators. That's more than allegations, since we just all saw the video and stuff. But he was a beast in college, and also not a woman beater at that time.
And a beast in the elevator.
Yeah, so it's like, all right, I want to follow that up. I want to be a legend there. And they're like, we don't want you. And I was like, all right, I guess I'm going to DC. It's very simple. And my parents always asked, why DC? And I was like, there's a city. If the sport that I choose, that I'm passionate about, doesn't welcome me or I don't fit, there's a whole community that I can get to know and see, hey, what can I do there if this doesn't work out? Yeah.
I think that's also part of the reason why I ran from New York, because I was like, New York is the world of so many opportunities that I feel like I'll get swallowed up if I try my hand too early. So leaving and going to another city that's also predominantly Black too, because I was like, ooh, I need diversity. Don't send me to West Bump. I can't excel there. I don't like it. I went upstate and I was like, how many Black people are here? I'm not coming here, parents. I'm not coming here. I don't feel safe. I already don't feel safe.
Yeah.
So going to Philly, and Philly being a creative, quirky, artistic city really helped me grow as a creative. Like, that was my first hand at being a creative. I had a blog. I was meeting people.
All right, you gotta slow this down. Tell me about the blog.
It was cute.
What was it called?
Welcome to the Dollhouse.
Wow, you were on brand.
I've been on brand since apparently sophomore year of college.
You're on brand because Cat Daddy.
Cat Daddy and Russia Barbie.
Yeah.
And then my Twitter name is Monster Barbie. So welcome to the Dollhouse.
Okay, yeah, that's, wow. Okay, so it was a whole set.
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually smart. I don't know why you were embarrassed to say that. That whole thing makes sense.
It makes sense, but it's like,
do you look at the writing sometimes and think, damn, what was I thinking?
I try not to look back at something. Sometimes the first ever blog I had, I was like, oh, this was bad. Just bad. You just tried. Once I started again, I don't know why, this is the first time I'm actually thinking back to that blog. It was my first time connecting with fashion brands, like small fashion brands, because that was my first goal in life. I thought I was gonna have a publication.
Give me an example of a small fashion brand you connected with.
I don't remember their name specifically, but there was one that was based in Philly, and they gave me some of their clothing to like do my own photo shoots with. There was one girl who, and I actually thought about this piece the other day, and I really wish I can find it. She hand painted wooden guns and had them cross like this, and that was like her necklace. And I thought it was the most fire necklace ever. And I think and I watched her for like a few years. So when I finally started this blog, I reached out to her and asked if she still had it. She saw what my blog was and said, I can make one for you if you write about it. And I was like, a gift? Yes, I will do it. So when I look back at that and the way that I was telling people's stories, I'm still doing the same thing, just in a different magnitude. I'm telling people's stories about their individual self and less about their specific brand. A lot of people do that. They tell their brand stories. I want to tell your story. I want to get people to connect with people, understand people, and start seeing people as people first, instead of this is me, the content curator, and I'm awesome. This is me, the creative, and I've gone through life, and this is what life looks like to me, and this is why I moved this way, and this is why I thought about this project, and this is why Black Men Cry 2 is imperative to me. This is how I connect with the brand as a Black woman. I need you to understand that, so you understand what you're buying into. You're buying into the platform, the stories, the people, not just this one sector of them.
So, are you
I feel
aware?
like I long-winded answered that.
No, that was actually really great. I study interviews, and your interview reminded me of one of my favorite interviews that I watched for fun on Complex Blueprint. I'll send you the link one day. So, branding and brands. How many brands have you worked with?
For Black Men Cry 2 or just in general?
No, in general. You've worked with a lot of brands. You've handled a lot of other people's things, and they were like, "Nah, just keep it." Yeah, you have. I can see it. I'm like, no, you have. Pick a number. You gotta say we're at the number point. Just any number.
I don't know if I've ever thought about a number or the idea.
Have you ever thought about that ability that you have?
Recently.
Okay.
And I think that's what's helping me define what is it that I want to do that isn't corporate. I love working with brands. I love working with people and brands. Like
bigger brands, smaller brands, or as long as it's a business that's ran correctly.
Ooh, that's imperative.
Yeah.
Ran correctly with the core value. What's your core value? So the brand that I said that I was okay separating ties with when it came to Black Men Cry 2, the reason why, and this is when every time I say it to people, they're still like, and I'm like, no, it's not, it's to you because you're seeing dollar signs. It's not to me. It makes me feel like it. Black History Month was approaching.
Yeah.
I asked them, what are you doing for, and I knew something told me they weren't. What are you doing for Black History Month?
Yeah.
Acknowledging it.
That was the answer.
That doesn't sit well with me at all.
That was the answer.
That was the answer.
That was the honest
That was that's in my phone
I don't want to see
as an email response with a smiley
I
face.
don't want to see that.
It was a smiley face that got me. I was like, oh, this is passive aggressiveness on text.
Yeah.
Cool.
And email, which all emails are contracts technically, so.
Screenshot.
Yeah.
I will save this forever. So I said, okay. So I'm not gonna say anything. I'm gonna watch. So I looked on their Instagram during all of February. Nothing was ever acknowledged. But what you did do for Valentine's Day was a campaign with a Black man and a white woman. Yuck. I felt like yuck.
Yeah.
The first name of my brand is Black.
Yeah. I just had this conversation with someone. Actually.
The second is men. Black men.
Side note, I had to explain the concept of friends with benefits to someone. And I said, as a man, when women get pissed at you and all you're doing is talking about sex, when they offer the friends with benefits, take a step back and look at the word. What word comes first? If that word is not being fulfilled in terms of friends with benefits, you're not a friend with benefits. So when they cut you off, when they catch an attitude, when they don't fuck with you anymore, it's because you stopped becoming a friend and you were just a nigga that was fucking, which is not a benefit because you don't care about them or who they are or what they're going through, which means you're no longer a friend with benefit just by how you function. It's in the words.
It's the reason why a friend of mine, Boundaries, is no longer a friend of mine this year as well.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but like someone has to say it. Unfortunately, it's me.
That's not unfortunate. I mean, it's unfortunate for you because you feel like you have to be the one to say it, but it needs to be heard.
It's unfortunate because I have no issue with making people uncomfortable. Yeah, and then after that, it's like, all right, let's go eat this panini sandwich.
And they're looking at you still very uncomfortable and feeling raw. And I'm sitting there like, this is a good ass sandwich. Want a bite? No? You don't like it?
Yeah, but if you decide not to digest, that also has nothing to do with it. Because
if you constipated, that's your problem.
Information is important, but how you digest and dissect that information is just as important.
How you process.
A lot of people, it's like, oh, well, I learned this. And it's like, oh, no, you learned it in a book. Did you apply it anywhere? Did you experience it? Did you talk to other people who experienced it so they could like fill you in and that could actually paint the whole picture, not just the I had this in front of me a couple of times. I was like, nah, it's not that simple. I had that moment with my dad, but we'll talk about that some other time. So, Black Men Cry 2. In your life, that holds a lot of weight. Tell me about that weight.
I hate starting sentences with As soon as I said it, I was like, ew. Professional Communications 101.
Suggestions. Usually for good
Stop and pause.
Stop and pause, or you can hit it with the I just used right there. What are sentences that you would usually use to pivot in emails? That's how I think of With that being said, that's always a good one. Because with that being said, it could go positive or negative.
That is true.
But it's space for it. With that being said, glad everyone's doing well. Or with that being said, we're still going to have to fire you, but it's been great.
Oh. Hear what you're saying. However, you still got to go.
Yeah.
It holds weight to me because it's very personal to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's very personal to me, and I always preached about the 3 aspects, but it's essentially 4.
Okay, tell me about these 4 aspects.
They're all experiences. They're all heavy experiences.
Mm-hmm.
The first experience I ever had with men of color and their mental health was being a freshman in high school and losing a best friend to suicide. That has played a significant part of who I am today, of my life.
Mm-hmm.
I also have a tattoo for him. And the reason why it holds so much weight for me is we were on the phone the night that he took his own life, and he had called prior to that moment. And the reason why he called and the voicemail that was left was to, share how much he loves and values me as a friend. So for me, after that happened at such a young age, you could have been able to call me at any time of night and I would have answered since then. My phone was on loud. Like, I just recently broke that habit of, you actually do need to rest. That small piece of guilt, it wasn't small. That piece of guilt you feel for missing that phone call was something I had to work through. That being that first experience and the way that I value friendships and move with friendships has also changed and altered and been so heavy for me since that moment. That was my first. My second was ending up in a relationship where we both became mutually abusive towards each other due to us not being aware of the fact that, like, oh, we're operating in depression. Like, we're both depressed. This is what depression looks like at this age. Mm-hmm. We don't know that. Ain't nobody told us that.
Yeah.
Depression was a white people thing. What we got to be depressed about? We blessed and highly favored, okay? Mm-hmm. And not only were we depressed, we were abusing substances together.
Yeah.
So now our minds are messed up and we're altering it and we're just all screwed up.
You guys are both in the fog. Yeah.
And it just seemed very passionate and it was detrimental. And I, as a woman of color, also potentially, in my head, affected negatively a black man who has substance, has like a good black man. And I couldn't sit well with myself thinking that I did that to someone.
Yeah.
So being able to, one, for years, try to ignore it, and then finally sit with it this year, like face to face, and have that conversation, lifted weight off of my heart, because regardless, we both played such a heavy part. I still needed to sit across from the person and accept my part and hold my part accountable and apologize for it and like explain it. I needed to stop living like a hypocrite in that moment. So having that conversation, this is why this project, this business, this brand is so important to me, because I can't live like a hypocrite. It's made me change that. So for me to sit across or have conversations or be present or try to give people different mindsets. I'm not coming from holier than thou. I'm coming from, wow, I'm you, you're me. We're each other. But there's another, like, you can go down another path. You can pick another lane, and that lane is lighter. The third experience, and that's the one that actually pushed me to produce the web series, the platform, the brand. I ended up in a situationship, as many of us do, and with a hood guy. I don't like to use that terminology, so I like to call him stoic. To see someone be so feared and respected in their neighborhood, and then have them come to you and see you as a safe space. I've seen that man break down more times. I haven't broken down in front of him, and it's not like a pride thing. It's just the opportunity and the space that was provided for him. You feel so comfortable and secure to do that here. Here is your safe space. However, I was used and abused for being the safe space and went through my own shit. But if I can connect with someone that we technically come from two different worlds, there's a gift there. And in recognizing that gift, the male friends in my life felt very comfortable. And I've noticed that for a long time, for my entire life, how easy it is for me to connect with men. But where does that come from? Oh, that comes from you having that close relationship with your father. When you were young, your father had was out on disability, so he was there in those young, impressionable years. So you know what it's like to connect with a man. Then it's your mother doesn't expose vulnerability because she's a Caribbean woman. Because she's a Caribbean woman who had to fend for herself and make these opportunities for herself and find and develop and create her American dream. So because of that, you weren't granted a lot of vulnerability. So you know what it's like to put on a hard face. You know what it's like to hide parts of yourself and react off of pain and hurt because you're not acknowledging or accepting that this is pain and hurt. So now I get how you guys are moving. I get how you're thinking. I get the pressure that you're feeling. So how can I continue to create these safe spaces and expose these safe spaces to get you to release it? To get you to finally talk about this imperative part of your life that has never been spoken about in this magnitude. How can I give you the opportunity to tell your story instead of white America telling your story and spinning it for the way they want to portray it? No, let's get to the real. And it's important because that's me. You can see me outwardly. You don't know what's going on internally. And especially when I think about this year and losing my mother, you can see me right now, I'm smiling and I'm outside. And my energy can be up and I can be having a good day, but inside I'm feeling very ripped apart. Every good day is still bittersweet to me because I can have a good day and be like, wow, this person said this about me. I got to kick it with this person. We had this dope experience. Let me go call. I can't call my mom. So let me sit with that feeling. And that feeling hurts. But I can't share or show that hurt, or you're not thinking that I'm moving in that way because you see me out smiling. Yeah, I can't go to you with that baggage. You don't make it safe. You don't hold it with grace. So this project, this platform, it's me helping others get to what I had to learn and grow through, and I need to find my voice. I found my voice and I want to use my voice to help others share their story. Understand your story, say your story, own your story, and how can we change your story? Your story shouldn't define you. You have an opportunity to make it every vision that you see. As a man. Yeah. And here I am as a woman showing I'm on your side. Platonically, I got your back. Yeah. You have support. You have someone in me, in this brand, in this platform. And that's why I did it as a video series. I want you to see I can sit across from a man and have these hard taboo conversations and make it feel like we're just talking over steak and eggs. We can laugh in having hard conversations, which I think people have this weird thing oh, it's so awkward, it's intense. It may be awkward because it's woo, I didn't expect that. Well, wow, that's some heavy shit, but I can still make a joke. It's how we cope. It's how Black people cope. We make jokes about everything. So why can't we have serious conversations and still make it feel light? It's heavy, but I try to make it look light because in that time frame, it is light. We're just talking. We're We're just talking. I'm listening. I'm letting them be seen. I'm letting them be heard. And a lot of times it opens the door for them to further that conversation. And I'm blessed to be a part of so many journeys because so many people have played a part in my journey. So it's pay it back, pay it forward.
Okay. I have a question for you. Oh, wow. Thank God I locked my key today.
It's like, woo, hold it
I was
in.
going to say emotion-wise, I was like, woo.
I mean, yesterday I cried enough. I was like, oh, it's all out. It's all out. It won't be here.
So, how do you create space for yourself when that time comes? That's number one. And number two, who in your life creates space for you?
The two kind of sometimes blend. My family creates space for me. I may be the most emotionally intelligent in my family because of the shift of the generations. It's not like an insult to their intelligence, but to be a person who is outwardly speaking and doing, they still guide and allow me to teach. So that's dope to see. In losing my mom, I tell people, if I lost her any sooner, this would be a complete different experience. Last year, me and her had a therapy session together. If anybody has known or met my mom, the idea of my mom agreeing and sitting down with the therapist on more than one occasion.
That's major. Yeah.
And in that session, the way that there's like something I said that I never thought about, that I didn't realize was part of a conflict in our relationship, that moment and seeing the way her reaction and response was held so much weight. Like, now we're getting through. It will still have some bumps, but our bumps will be a bit smoother now because now we're hearing. We're there now. So the spaces for myself is my own therapy session. I have a really strong relationship with my therapist. A lot of myself has changed from taking that leap of faith and going into therapy. Those other spaces I'm learning is like the me time and not avoiding it and sitting with self. If it means I'm smoking weed, I'm smoking weed. That's what I like to do to unwind. It is what it is. I'm not ashamed. It helps. I don't abuse it. Moderation, yes. Yeah. Moderation and responsibility. It's working out. It's going for walks. It's being with certain people and disconnecting. It's having those engaging conversations where you don't feel like an outsider or a loner in this world. It's getting lost in content that inspires you. I can get lost in like a docu-series or a really good scripted show, and it's just my escape or my use for inspiration to keep me stimulated but not overly stimulated where I feel like I'm going to explode. And the people that make spaces for me this year more than ever is what I'm looking at and what I'm looking for and how I'm reevaluating the clutter in my life. Like, whoop, you gotta go. I can bring you in. But even though you're in, you're not here, you're here. Like, there can be levels to it. My therapist calls it my starting 5, even though it's like more than 5 people. But I know with these, let's say 10, 15 people, I know what to get. I know the experience or the environment, and I have trust in them. Everyone else would be like, I can schedule time with you on this day, on this month. You don't need to constantly be this close. And it's because of the people just moving with the idea of consideration, grace, temperament, the check-in. Like, I don't want people to feel like they have to walk on eggshells or be weird. Just be human, and as a human, remember the human that you're speaking to. Remember what that human is going through. For a real, like, quick example, yesterday we were having a very heated conversation and it was triggering for someone. And they sent me a text, even though we were in a group setting, and they said, hey, this conversation is getting a bit triggering. Do you mind changing the subject? So I read the text. Instead of making it hot, quick shift, whoop, quick turn. Yeah. Because that's your safe space for me, so I want to ensure I can create that safe space for you. And that's the same thing if I'm out with someone and I feel like, okay, I'm not feeling comfortable anymore. I need you to either identify it before I say anything, or if I say something to you on the side, be able to protect my mental state, my emotions, my feelings, me as a person. So it's those that have the protection, and I'm paying more mind to that these days to decide who gets this energy, who gets me to this magnitude, or what level of me will I only allow you to have.
Yeah. That was a beautiful answer.
I was like, I hope that answers the question.
Has anybody ever had this conversation with you before?
Not to this magnitude. I think typically just my therapist, because that's the person that I run to when shit hits the fan, shit went left, I had to separate from this person. It's the, okay, are we still evaluating? Are we still reflecting? Are we still, where it's getting to the point where when I'm stepping away from people, I'm not coming to her like, I can't believe. I'm like, oh, this person had to go. Nope, don't feel safe, don't feel protected, don't feel respected. This is what I said. I might have used some harsh words. It is what it is. The message needs to be heard. And now they're gone and I'm good.
Okay. Before we wrap this up, what would you like all men to know about you if they decide to reach out?
Great question. Unfortunately, I have like a funny but real, honest. Please don't reach out to me if you're interested in me with no corny-ish. I'm sorry. I'm tapped, I'm spent. Some of y'all are real corny.
You exhausted? Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't
It's
have
manipulative.
I don't have the grace to take it on the chin anymore. I'm not going to be cutesy about it. I understand male-dominated industries, navigating around it. I'm no longer navigating around it. I'm going to call it out. I'm going to shut it down. If I need to expose you for you to get it, like, just know that I have the capability to expose. I'm not above it. I'm healing. I'm not healed. I'm not a perfect person. I may expose some bullshit that she sent me in my story so more people can be like, oh, I used that line on a girl before. Let me not do that in case she, yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that to change, hopefully to change, or at least spark conversations to change behaviors that are just not okay.
Level the playing field.
If you're interested in working and are serious and genuine, please don't reach out for opportunity. This is serious work that I care about. It's sometimes people just want to reach out and be like, hey, can you interview me about this? Yes, I have a web series. I had a woman reach out to me and ask if I would interview her about her comedy journey.
The platform is built for men to be the visitors on your show.
Then I don't talk about no one's business. It'll come in.
Yeah.
Yeah, if their business ties into what we're talking about or what the purpose of the brand is. So please do your homework.
Did you want to make a separate platform for those kind of folks? Because that's where I'm at now on things. But it's because I'm in a weird space. We'll get to that one later. we'll talk about that after this.
If in my personal brand to help any other people's brands, sure. Don't come to this brand for that. Know what brand or what you're looking for when you come here. I've had a guy hit me up from Atlanta asking if I was still managing other artists and would I manage a rapper. Cool, you came to my personal page to ask me that because you see personally I do that with someone else. Perfect, you got it. Don't come to that because there's two separate accounts. Don't come to that there with that. And don't move in a sense of, even though it's split, because it is split identities, it's still me behind it. There's no machine, there's no intern.
It's just you.
It's me. I am the brand is me. I don't face forward with the brand. I don't want the brand to make it seem like I'm the brand for that. Like, no, every guest that comes on is the brand. Like, that's the face of the brand. The people I interview, they're the face of the brand. The culture, the community, they're the face of the brand. I'm just facilitating the conversation. But still remember, it is just me. And I'm still a human. And as a human, I may step away, I may take breaks, I may do these things because it's not an oil flag like business. It's me. So I had someone reach out asking, hey, I'm coming to New York, MLK weekend. Will you be recording then? I already have you on the list. And I'm a woman of my word. So if I don't get back to you in a time frame, or if you're just anxious about it, I am a woman of my word. I will get back to you. It will get done. You have to sort of take a step back and just let it go on my process for my brand, because I have plans for my brand, and I don't like outside people trying to maneuver it on their time frame or for their personal gain.
And that's not fair to you.
Not fair to me, and not the purpose of this brand.
Yeah.
It's delicate conversations I want to have, and I like to curate the conversation and think about, well, what can be the takeaway? What do I want to be the main goal and topic? I am very honored to see people be excited and anxious to want to get on the brand. I'm understanding that as a blessing, but just want people to understand, like, as excited as you are, how does this come across, and respect the process that I do for this. This isn't a weekly podcast. We're not just kikiing. This is heavy-ish that I'd like to talk about, and in order to talk about it, I gotta be good.
Yeah.
And I gotta do it on my time. And if I'm not good, I'm not gonna do it on your time. It's my brand. You're coming over here to come on my brand. You will have to move on my time. It is what it is. If you don't like it, you don't have to come here.
Yeah.
There's another brand you could talk to.
Bunch of brands.
And I'm fine with that.
It's a big city.
It's a big city. It's a big world. Big country. If you gotta go elsewhere, I'm not gonna cry about it. I won't feel insulted. You gotta do what's best for you.
Yeah.
Because I'm doing what's best for me.
Yeah, and that's important. Okay, so where can the people find you?
You can find me on the Instawebs. You can find the brand at Black Men Cry Too, and that's 2 O's, so TOO. You can find me at RetroBarbie92. I don't like to give out my Twitter.
You're good. You mentioned it lightly. We could just skip over that.
Yeah, if you find me, you find me. If you don't look for me.
If they paid attention, they got it. Yeah.
Right. And if you want to work personally, Retro Barbie. If you want to build with the brand, Black Men Cry Too. Just remember the association.
And both of them have a separate cost.
Both of them have a separate cost, and the price, yesterday's price?
It's not today's price.
Not today's price. So don't be mad at the price, because everything has a price now.
Yeah. I feel like we watch the same YouTube shows.
Pretty much.
I have a feeling that we watch the same YouTube shows.
Yeah, I'm like, ooh, even this one. This one stays with me too. This is soundbite I will keep.
Alright, well, I appreciate you coming through. I hope you enjoy the goodie bag. You want to show them the bag?
I do.
Yeah, it's a little bag. You know, a little
First, you have to
tote
do the
bag.
you know, gotta show the toe.
Yeah. Let me put the camera towards you so you can know what you look. There you go. That's you see the coloring is great.
Oh my gosh,
I
love the
yeah, I told you. I was like, no, you was killing
Like
it.
the pink is over here.
Yeah, I got to watch this for like an hour and some change. I was like, this was great.
You were still like, and because I'm cool or whatever. Little exclusive pieces, which I love because I wasn't a hugger. My mom was a hugger, and now I'm like hugging everybody. I'm like, oh my god, hug me, make me feel loved. And since I'm a vibrant thing,
You are a very vibrant person.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Get home safe. Which is what you'll hear me say if you come visit me at the bar nowadays. Get home safe.
Did you want to say the name of the bar? Do we keep that to ourselves?
We do, so I don't know if that's changing.
Okay.
If you in New York and you want to drink with me, hit me up or watch my stories. I'll post where I'm bartending and when. Weekly.
Bet.
It's always a good time. That's always
Did you
a good
want to
time.
shout out Queens before we wrap this up?
Queens get the money. I mean, what is there more to say? If I was wearing shorts, I would show the tattoo. Queens get the money. It's the ghettoest tattoo I have that I love with all of my heart. Okay? A Queens girl, no matter where I live. If you catch me in a different borough, mind your business. I'm still a Queens girl. I grew up with grass in the front and the back of my house, and I still know how to scrap. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for coming through.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for letting us know about how you build it. That was so important.